In the last episode, Kuroda Nagamasa failed miserably to take the town of Yonan in the north. Now we head back down south for what some would consider just something minor, but it's actually still very interesting. I'm Stefan, and this is Japan at War. Just 1 week after the disastrous attack on Yonan, there was an incident at Gyeongju in the far south. Gyeongju had been captured in the early days of the war by Kato Kiyomasa's second contingent on the way to taking Seoul. A small militia had tried to resist the Japanese, but had absolutely no effect, and as a result, 3,000 people were executed, and many of the city's ancient buildings had been burned to the ground. After the battle, the city was garrisoned by soldiers from the 5th Contingent, under the command of Tagawa Naiki. The men stationed there didn't have much conflict to deal with, and then, at the end of September, a large Korean army appeared from the west. The army was supposed to be around 5,000 government troops strong, under the command of the newly appointed Gyeongsang Left Army Commander Bakjin. Tagawa, not wanting to be on defense, even though his forces were actually smaller than Bakjin's, sent about half of his forces out from the city from the back gate to circle around and attack from the rear. The aggressive surprise attack caught the Koreans completely off guard, and when Bak's forces started to take serious casualties, he called on his men to make a desperate retreat. Bakjin, though, actually had a plan. They returned under the cover of darkness in the early morning on October 12th. With them was a secret weapon. And I will try my best to pronounce it. The Pigyok Chinchoyo, which apparently translates as shaking the heavens with lightning and thunder. Bakjin sent a group of his soldiers up to the base of the walls of Gyeongju, making sure to be as quiet as possible, where they set up and fired the weapon, firing from a mortar an iron ball right over the wall into the middle of the Japanese camp. A chronicler for the Japanese actually commented on what happened next. It fell to earth, and our soldiers gathered around it to look and see what it was. Then it exploded, emitting such a noise that it shook the heaven and earth, scattering bits of iron like crashed stars. Those who were hit by this dropped dead on the spot. Others around were knocked down as if by a powerful gust of wind. Now apparently around 30 men died from this blast, but the real damage was psychological. Tagawa's men had no idea where this mortar bomb had come from, and they now had to consider how many more surprise mortar attacks would happen, and how many of these weapons the Koreans even had. His men were so shook by this that they abandoned the city and fled to So-Sang-po, leaving Gyeongju and quite a large store of rice to Bakjin and his men. And this is actually where I'm going to leave you. Now, I know that this episode is pretty short, though I am curious about what my audience actually thinks of the shorter episodes, so please let me know down below. Now, this battle actually shows a major development for the Koreans. See, this weapon wasn't new. In fact, it was invented before the war by Yi Chang-san. What this shows was that the Koreans were starting to change and adapt their strategies to better deal with the Japanese. Anyway, Yes, let me know what you think of the shorter episodes. I look forward to reading them down below. See you next time.